Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the first stand up of the cohort 5 of the Ethereum Protocol Fellowship. Excited to have you all here. Today's stand up is going to be a kickoff where Mario and I give you some details about the program, some things that we would like to see out of this cohort, and then um, let you guys ask any follow-up questions that you might have. And then at the end, if we have time, we'll do some small breakout rooms where y'all can start to get to know each other a little bit so we can all come together as a cohort. It looks like we've got 44 people in here, which is lovely. Um, so yeah, just to start off, for those of you who haven't met me, my name's Josh. I work with the Ethereum Foundation, the protocol support team, running this program, as well as a few other bits and pieces. Um, and yeah, I'll be taking most of the logistical things. Any questions you might have about logistics or how things work, or if you just need some help with something, feel free to reach out to me. Mario, if you want to give yourself a quick introduction.
Yeah, sure. First, just check. Can you hear me all well? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, first of all, yeah, thank you so much all for joining. Almost 50 people here. That's great to see. And yeah, I'm Mario. I also work in Ethereum Foundation's protocol support, and my role in EPF is also the coordination, but more from the technical side. So I will be giving feedback for your weekly updates. I will be helping with connecting to mentors, giving feedback for your projects, and yeah, with general questions, you can always reach out to me as well. Yeah, and again, I'm very excited to be here this today, just starting the 5 month long journey. So yeah, I'm still kind of psyched. And we have a lot of things to cover to get you ready for the program. So Josh, I guess you have actual structure for the topics.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and dive in here to a little presentation about about the fifth cohort here. So just yeah, uh, take some time to listen. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. We probably won't answer them as they come up, but it'll be good to sort of have them captured there so that we can go back through and answer them as we get to them. So yeah, first thing that I want to talk about is the general timeline of the program. If you've looked at the GitHub repository, you should already have a good idea of what this looks like. But to just kind of reiterate, we have 4 different phases through this cohort. Uh, the first phase is a in between a 2 to 3 week phase, and this is what we call the discovery phase. This is an opportunity for you to spend some time getting to know Ethereum itself, looking into the core protocol, diving into all the different little different pieces of it, taking some time to look through EPF.wiki so that you can familiarize yourself with all the different pieces and components of the protocol and sort of start to get a big picture overview of everything that's going on. The second phase is our deep dive phase. This is where you choose a project or a topic that you really are interested in, that you find really interesting, and do a deep dive into it so that you can start to suss out your project. Um, we have a bunch of project proposals in the GitHub repository that have come from mentors. These are things that you can take as inspiration for your project. You can work specifically on those things, but also they're mostly meant to act as an inspiration for you to choose your project. So you can look at these different projects, look at the general area that they exist in, do deep dives into those areas, and then either complete that project or come up with something that's sort of adjacent to it or something like that. By the end of this phase, you should have a project proposal finished. There is a template in the repository that Mario will show later for you to create this project proposal. But the project proposal is a requirement for those of you who are EPF um, members, and it will help us get to know like what you're working on, allow us to and you to submit these projects to mentors so that they can give you feedback, can kind of point you in the right direction, help you define the scope of the project a little bit, and yeah, just give you some generalized feedback there. Around that time is when we will be at ECC. So part of this program is an in-person event at ECC in Brussels, and I will talk a little bit more about that in a little bit here. The majority of this program is phase three. Phase three is the execution phase. Let me see if I can fix that. Thanks. Cool. Hopefully that is not shaking anymore. Yeah. So the majority of the program is the execution phase. This is the part where you will be focused on completing your project, completing the deliverables, and just generally working on the project. And then finally, phase four is the showcase and next steps phase. This is where you will present your project, the things that you've worked on over the duration of the program to the other fellows in the program as well as mentors, and that will take place for those of you that will be attending DevCon with us in November in person at EPF Day in DevCon. Yeah, I don't know why it's shaking. That's just gonna be something that we're gonna have to deal with for now. Yeah. Wow, that's really weird. Hmm. It won't even let, oh, there it goes. Maybe that'll work. Let's try that. Okay, so next we're going to talk about some of the expectations that we have. These expectations are mostly designed for those of you who are stipended fellows, but do sort of fit as well for anybody who is participating permissionlessly and is intending to sort of be working for that retroactive stipend. So first of all, uh, we're expecting you to be pretty self-directed. We This program is designed to mimic the process of what it's like to work as a core developer. Uh, Most core developers all work sort of siloed. They work all around the world, usually in their own homes by themselves. And so people have to have their own motivations for doing this work and have be able to direct themselves, point themselves in the directions that they should go, learning the things that they need to learn about on their own, and generally taking some like self responsibility around what it is that you need to be doing. So we expect that EPF fellows also work in this manner as much as possible. We want to get you in the habit of thinking about the questions that you have before you feel like you need to ask them to somebody who you might feel knows more than you, and working through those problems, trying to figure out how to find the answers on your own before reaching out to either myself or Mario or a mentor or something. So really trying to be focused on this self-directed mentality. Second, we expect consistent work. So, you all should be putting in between 20 to 40 hours into this program. And we want to see some consistent output, and we see these outputs through the biweekly developer updates. I'll give you some more examples of what the developer updates look like, but generally, this is our opportunity to, kind of track where you're at with your project, see what you've been working on, see the things that might be holding you up, putting roadblocks in your way, and generally just help us gauge where you're at. In addition, these developer updates are helpful for you to practice your ability to write in a technical manner, to communicate your ideas to the general community, because this is one of the major ways that information is disseminated in Ethereum. So we want to make sure that you guys get lots of good practice in communicating your ideas and the things that you're working on. I mentioned a little bit about the project proposal. Creating project proposals is an expectation of the EPF. So yeah, that is one of those expectations. And then finally, at the end of the cohort, in addition to your project presentation, you will write a final development update, which kind of outlines your experience during the EPF. Talks about your process of working on your project, how you feel like it went. Just give us basically some reflections on your experience through the program. And it looks like we're still getting some fun shaking. And it doesn't even want to let me change slides. There we go. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the developer updates. So at a minimum, we expect biweekly updates. That means once every 2 weeks, you should be submitting an update. Uh, you are more than welcome to submit more than this. Um, some people find it handy to uh, you know, sort of just write out the process as they're doing everything. Not only does this again help to communicate what you're working on with the general community, but it also can help to solidify some of the concepts in your head, or to work out some ideas that you've been mulling over, or to just generally getting things on written down can help you process through things. So again, at a minimum, biweekly, once every 2 weeks, but feel free to submit more than that. And again, this is an opportunity for you to practice communicating your thoughts and your ideas to the community. Again, this is the main way that information gets disseminated throughout the community. So being able to write in a clear and concise manner will help you to be a more productive and contributive member of the Ethereum development community. These updates should be more than just like a list of bullet points that, I did this thing and then I did this thing and then I did this thing. We hope that you will take the opportunity to really kind of dive into the things that you've been working on for that period of time. Writing about mm, like your process of learning, or like your process of developing this particular feature, like how, like what roadblocks did you run into, how did you solve those roadblocks, what sort of information was helpful for you, where did you find that information. All sorts of things like this are, again, not only helpful for us to kind of see what your process is like, and for others to see what your process is like, for those that might be hiring you in the future, but also again to uh, uh, inform community members. Like, I'm sure that you all have had the experience of like finding a really key piece of writing or article, blog post somewhere on the internet, written by a developer that is unlocked something that was you were really struggling with. So we want to get into the habit of like creating those pieces of content for others who are also trying to understand or figure out those kinds of problems. Um, And yeah, the writing should have a technical lean to it, right? So we want to be adding some pseudocode in there, uh, creating some diagrams if that's something that it seems applicable, and just generally leaning the writing more towards somebody who has some technical knowledge, right? Not sort of this like kind of glossed over general overview. And then finally, it is an opportunity for you to collect some resources to, help you kind of create a library of information that might be helpful for you in the future, might be helpful for others that are working on a similar project or problem, or just trying to understand the problem space there. Um, you will submit all of these developer updates through the GitHub repository through pull requests, and either Mario or myself will, review the different your development updates and give you some general, feedback on them. Cool. Mario, any words about developer updates that you want to jump in here with? Cool. And you can see in the chat here, Mario has put some examples to some great developer updates from past cohort members. So yeah, definitely check those out to get a good idea of what a good developer update looks like. We have, I think, probably at this point thousands of developer updates in between cohort 3 and cohort 4, so there is like no shortage of inspiration for you to be able to kind of get a good gauge on what it is that a good developer update looks like. Um, I will just break one more moment here, Mario. If you have anything, you're muted. If you wanted to share anything, otherwise I will keep going. Cool. All right. Next, I want to talk about mentor interactions. Uh, One of the biggest benefits of this program is the communication and the collaboration that you get to have with mentors. Mentors are just core developers who work on the Ethereum protocol. They, have very busy jobs and lives and are doing this mentorship out of not only like their desire of the well-being of Ethereum itself, but also to help bring new um, developers into core development. So with that being said, we want to be really respectful of the mentors. They're not getting paid to do this. It's they are them volunteering their time and their energy and their brain space and bandwidth to help everybody in this program to get where they're going. So again, we want to be really respectful with their time. So when we are wanting to interact with the mentor, we want to make sure that we're doing a few different things. First of all, when we want to ask a question to a mentor, we want to make sure that it is a very specific question. It's a thoughtful question, something that we've already given some thought to, something that we've already, done some research on, right? So, like, we want to make sure that this question is pretty specific and thoughtful so that the mentor has the opportunity to give you a pretty concise answer. If we're just like, right now there are 63 people in this call, if all 63 people are just blasting questions at mentors, like, they're going to get overwhelmed with all of this and they're not going to be excited to do it in the future. B, like, all of that time that they are taking to answer questions that could have easily been answered, by doing a quick search on the internet, is taking time away from them doing the work that they are actually doing as well. So please, when you're asking questions, make sure that you've done your own research first and make sure that the questions are specific and thoughtful. Mentors are here to point you in the right direction. They're here to unblock roadblocks that you might be coming across. They're not here to act as your project manager, to tell you what to do, to tell you what the next step as every step of the way. They're here to, be somebody who can, point you in the right direction and unblock any roadblocks you might have. So once again, please be considerate of the mentor's time. No one really, unless you already have a project proposal written up, should be reaching out to mentors in this first week. This is time for you to to take some to take this opportunity to learn about Ethereum, to learn about the different topics, and generally get some sense around what it is that you're going to be working on. Um, we should not be reaching out to mentors about their specific projects right away. Take some time to explore the space, to figure out what it is that you find interesting and you find that you're passionate about this ecosystem, as opposed to just kind of looking at the list of proposed projects and choosing something that sounds, easy or like you could do it. Um, and then finally, if you need help getting in contact with a mentor, please reach out to Mario or myself, and we will do our best to get you in touch with either that specific person or somebody else that might be able to answer your question. Mentorship is a very organic process in this program. You aren't like assigned a specific mentor per se, but one will sort of reveal itself as you're working on your project. Somebody who has the expertise, who might be working on something adjacent to that project, or perhaps works in that particular client team or with that specific language or something to that effect. So you're not going to be assigned a mentor. You might be working with a few different people, and you also could be working. You can also have the opportunity to pseudo mentor each other. If you have questions, please. Like asking the community is a good first step in trying to figure out the answers to things. Um, yeah, that's all I have on mentorship. Mario, you want to jump in here? Cannot hear you if you are speaking. No. Cool. Well, while we wait for Mario to figure out what is going on with his
Yeah.
microphone. Oh, I heard something there.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, there it is.
Hey, hey, hey. Can you hear me?
Yep, got you.
Yeah. Sorry, it was a connection or something. Yeah, go ahead.
Um, yeah, so if you have anything else that you want to mention about mentorship or mentor interactions, please feel free. Otherwise, I think, I will continue here.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. I'm not sure what's happening with my mic. Um, yeah, I things to discuss. Don't reach out to mentors right away with kind of a thing. Hey, will you be my mentor, please? Like that's very empty question. Like if you don't have something to actually work on, not worth bothering people. And you can also go through us. Like please, feel free to check with us before connecting to somebody. And also we can provide a better intro than just some random person on a Discord message kind of thing. So yeah, I will also go through the docs in the repo later, so I will reiterate on all of this again, I guess.
Cool. A few other things to mention that I don't have slides for here. So all of you that went through the interview process and were selected to receive a stipend at the beginning of the program, we are setting up that stipend process right now with the grants team of the Ethereum Foundation. This process can take anywhere between 3 and 6 weeks, but we do try to expedite this process as fast as possible. Things that can help this process go quicker is if when you receive communications from the grants team to provide them the information that they need in a timely manner that will help them process the grant as quick as they can. So please make sure to be looking out for communications from them. These stipends will be paid out on a monthly basis, usually around the beginning of the month on a Monday or a Tuesday. They can be paid out in fiat currency, in USDC or DAI. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for those of you that are um, uh, participating in the program permissionlessly, uh, yes, they can pay in ETH. They tend to not like to pay in ETH just because the price is so volatile, and using a stable coin is tends to be a better way if you want crypto. Um, but yeah, for those of you that are here participating permissionlessly and hoping to receive a stipend retroactively, we go through this process of basically for the first couple of months we will watch how you're contributing, how much you're showing up to the stand-ups and to the office hours, the quality of your development updates, and generally the things that you're working on, and your general competency uh, with the subject matter. And we make decisions based on those sorts of qualifications. The retroactive stipends are, basically at Mario and I's discretion. And yeah, we will reach out if we feel like it is an appropriate time for that. Again, our judgment of applications and our interview process is by no means perfect. We're just two dudes who look at words on a screen. Um, so yeah, please do just join us and do some good work. And if you are making valuable contributions, then you will likely be rewarded a stipend. But I will say that things that don't get me excited about rewarding people with stipend is like constant communication about, hey, do I get a stipend now? Hey, do I get a stipend now? People who work in Ethereum core development tend to not be in it for the money. These are people who do core development work are highly intelligent people that could likely be making 2, 3, 4x the amount of money somewhere else in a FANG company, but feel very passionate about the work that they do working on Ethereum. So that is sort of like the motivation piece around doing this kind of work. And if you have that motivation, if you have the drive to make contributions like that, you tend to be rewarded in the end, both through things like getting hired by different client teams or research teams, or getting some kinds of retroactive funding through things like Gitcoin or other RPGF funding sources. So that's just a note about the permissionless process here. And then finally, I did mention briefly about the conference in Brussels, ETHCC, which is happening July 6th to the 13th, is when we will be hosting stipended fellows at ETHCC. I don't have a ton more information for you around the logistics there, only that you can expect that your flight to Belgium is covered, as well as the accommodations for uh, the 6th to the 13th. If you do need an invitation, we are happy to provide a visa invitation letter for you, but that is about all that we can do. We don't have any ability to magically get you a visa, especially people who are in countries that, it requires a little bit more effort to get a visa. I do realize that we're on pretty short timeline here. We have less than a month for us to get through that process. So if you are intending to come to ECC and you know that the visa thing is going to be uh, like a process, please do get started on it right away. Um, yeah, I will stop there with that. I will have more information for you about what we'll be doing for the EPF at ECC. It will be like a 1 day event that we'll be doing something, and then the rest of the time you will have to attend ECC as well as chat with people who are there. Yeah, so with that, I am going to pass it over to Mario to do some more talking.
Yeah, thank you so much, Josh. Once again, checking whether you can all hear me, because before the Jitsi shows that I'm speaking and Josh was just ignoring me, and turns out that I wasn't. So yeah, always just to be sure. Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks, Josh. Like Josh already outlined all the structure of the cohort, all the expectations that we have, all the plans. My role now is to do more of a housekeeping stuff, show you, guide you through the repo really quickly. So let me just share the screen. I hope this will work. Yeah, if you can see my screen, looks like you can. Is it all good? Anyone?
Yep,
Can
looks good to
you
me.
Yes.
see it? Yeah. Okay.
Good.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, here we are in the cohort 5 repo. So yeah, basically almost everything that Josh was talking about, the organizational part of stuff, the structure of the cohort is explained in this repo, and it's also the coordination tool that we use to manage this cohort, this program. And so first important thing is that it's under this organization ETH protocol follows, and there are many interesting repos under this organizations, specifically all the previous cohorts. So this repository can be this organization can be your study material through all these repositories. You can see how the EPF looked in last year and year before and year before. You can see all the previous cohorts, all the projects that have been done, and all the dev updates, all the progress of each fellow. So if you're, I already shared some good updates before. There are literally hundreds of them. I believe there is like thousands of them at this point. So if you see, for example, a project that you are interested in, let me just open the cohort 4 here. It has a very similar, basically the same structure. When I open projects, I can see all the projects that have been worked on. So for example, if I'm interested in fuzzing, or in Lighthouse backend is a good example. You can see the project outline, the specification, but you can also see who's been working on this, and it was Ethan. And then in dev updates, this lets me to find what Ethan has been up to. And it's here. So you can see everything that he's done, right? So you can find a project and a journey of every single fellow from every previous cohort. And if you find a project related to your area of work, to what you're interested in, check out the project itself, the project specification in here. It's a repository where it was actually done, and you can check all of these updates, all of the things that a person learned along the way. Also, sometimes they leave some notes in the /notes, but we will get to that. So let's look at the structure first. We have the README here, so some general information, stand-up call. So this link, the one that we used today, will be every Monday at this time. We'll meet here for this weekly stand-up. As Josh said before, these stand-ups are um, to share your updates, to basically summarize what was said in your weekly update, to say it directly to your fellows, to your peers, to all the other fellows, to share what you're working on, and maybe see whether other people are working on something similar, or learn from each other. And we'll also have breakout rooms to just chat about anything and get to know each other well. The stand-up calls are on Monday. Office hours are on Tuesday. It's the same time on Tuesday, and the topics and all the details will be announced in the issues. I did not create issue for the tomorrow's one, but it's there. It will happen tomorrow at the same time. 3 p.m. UTC, we will have a talk from Team Baco. I will update you on that later. So yeah, that's quickly the README. And now, where you want to start is the program guide. So same where this thing sends you. So the program guide is basically, again, what Josh somewhat mentioned here, but still, I would advise you to read it if you haven't, because some people just completely skip it and then have the same questions all over again. So just general introduction to the cohort, the phases and the selection criteria, and some FAQ of it. So if you have some questions, first check these questions, because there's a high chance that we already answered them, and the guide that also Josh basically explained. So these first few weeks dedicated to learning, then specifying the projects. And I would say, again, in like first 2 weeks or so, it doesn't really make sense to even talk to mentors, because there is a lot to learn. um, and That's what we can start here. So the technical resources here are a place to learn. So for these upcoming 2 weeks or so, or more, you should really dive into Ethereum, into that area specifically that interests you. So Ethereum is big and complex, and nobody's expert on the whole thing. There is, especially in EPF, you need to define a scope of the project, an area that you want to work on, something you want to focus on, and that first means you should study the whole Ethereum, get a good idea of what different domains are there, what are the computer science um, domains that the Ethereum touches, and what your expertise is in, and so on. So here is some suggested reading you can find in this repository. So in the reading, we have some resources. There is this Discord guidebook from Trent. This needs updating. He's looking forward to get some PRs here if you are also looking to contribute. However, the main resource that I would like to suggest you, an important piece, is the EPF Wiki. So this was created earlier this year. Many of you here are very familiar because you're contributors, you've been part of the study group. But to summarize it, this year we ran a study group, which was a 10-week program, and we created 16 presentations. This website has two parts. First is the study group. So here you can find all of the talks, all of the content that we created. So it's 16 sessions, some general introduction. I would still recommend this general introduction, even if you have some idea about Ethereum. Like, feel free to start from the very beginning. I had this pretty similar intro talk at a EPF kickoff last year, and this time we can find it. We can find it here. So it gives you more context around the whole protocol. And then if you want to continue, here is the order that we recommend to do the basics. And then if you want if you want to focus on a specific part of the protocol, development or research, here are more specific topics. And these are the basics. So this is the study group. A lot of content that you can follow. A lot of content in each week. You can find the recording. You can watch the recording here. And there is a lot of other resources and exercises that you can do, a bunch of other stuff that you can do. I did this one pretty elaborate, but the others are a bit shorter, but still. So you have bunch of resources, additional reading and exercises that you can do, that you can dive into. after with each presentation. So yeah, you can check this one out. And then the second part of this website is the protocol wiki, and the protocol wiki is community maintained wiki where we explain the Ethereum protocol, where you can find details on a bunch of these topics, all well explained. This is something which has been missing from previous cohort. The previous cohort really had just this part, and now we have a lot of content here. I believe it can help you to dive into basically any topic you're interested in, learn about how transactions work, and all of these details is something you should definitely learn about if you want to work on that specific part of the protocol. However, it's still missing a lot. Like if I open, I don't know, overview of the CL specs, you see CL specs are missing. They're just a short stub article. So you can also contribute. So during these first few weeks of the fellowship, I would suggest you to study all of these readings, look through the wiki, look through the study group. In the protocol wiki part, open a PR. It's all open. It's in the same organization. So you can just open a PR here to contribute back to the wiki while you are studying. And maybe if you are not used to Git and so on, it's also a good place to start. But yeah, one of the reasons why we are running this repo is also because we want people to learn how to use Git properly, how to collaborate with others. So here's a guide for using this repository. What was already said, the dev updates. So the dev updates go to the development updates MD. Here we have them divided into sections based on the phases. So the first phase, first 2 weeks. So everything before week 1 is the week 0. Okay, that's just like very preliminary stuff. The week 1 is this week. So during this week, end of this week, if you have an update on your learnings, on your work, you can submit it here. You can use you can please host it somewhere safely outside. Use your website. Use HackMD, use Notion, use IPFS, use something free software ideally. And yeah, make sure it's published before you submit it. Uh, the uh, the updates, also what Josh said, should contain some actual learnings of yours, some resources and so on. Some people submitting these week 0 updates in this cohort are just like, hey, I'm this guy, I'm interested in this, which is nice, but doesn't really, look as a reader, I didn't really learn anything about the project, about some interesting resources. Like use it to collect all the stuff that you've been learning, all the different PRs that you opened and so on, rather than just like some quick and lack of information updates. Yeah, so you can open a PR to edit these tables. So we start with this table, then we move here, we move here. With each table, I will copy this list of people. Please add yourself alphabetically. It says here, it's bolded alphabetically. There are people opening these PRs last weeks, and they're just ignore it. So please use it. Use alphabetic order here. And use a formatter tool for Markdown. Like there is this tool you can use, or just if you're using like HackMD or some sort of Markdown editor, it automatically formats the table for you. So you can just copy the whole table, edit it in your thing, and submit it back without breaking how the table looks like. So we have it all even, all nice. It doesn't have to be like all over the place. I'm editing it thoroughly, just saying that there's something that will make it easier for you to get it merged fast, and I don't have to fix it. Yeah. Yeah. Open a PR from your own repo. You don't need to create any branches here. It's very straightforward. We are just using the main branch for everything. Yeah. And yeah, there are some examples of the previous cohorts here. There's Dennis finalized as an example as well. Yeah, the table formatting tool. So then when you're creating projects, you can use the projects here. So you create a new file here based on this template. Yeah, this is something which again we hope to finish by like beginning of July, the first part of July, where you should have this submitted. So you can slowly think about it, slowly start writing this, and you can get inspiration from all the previous years. You can also add it. So then I will create a list here, so we have a clickable list in the README in this directory, so it's easy to navigate projects. Yeah, and the notes. I saw a bunch of people also creating notes. So the notes is it's so projects and the dev updates are something that just needs to be done. That's something that defines your participation in the cohort. The notes are just there, just to for you to uh, collect resources again, just to provide some interesting insights which are not really fitting for the dev updates, and you want to keep it around. So yeah, some people again submitted these notes just like introduction to yourself and so on without any proper content in it, and that's all right if you plan to expand it, I guess, but please like use it for actual content that somebody who is in a year or in 5 years will be reading this repo and find your work interesting and also check your notes on actual resources that you used. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that's the program guide to using the repo, the mentorship guide, something that we've already elaborated on a lot. So please read this carefully. It defines how the mentorship works. It's some mostly what Josh already said. Again, before you reach out to mentor, like figure out what do you actually need to do with him. So my recommendation for a best kind of reach out to a mentor is to open a PR to his repo and ask him for a review. That's like the best thing you can do. And like yeah, again, like the PR needs to make sense. Um, the PR needs to make sense. So I guess don't like say hello to the PR, but yeah, what I wanted to say is like come with some actual work or some actual research being done and ask for feedback on top of it, because really Ethereum is an open book. All of this information is out there, and it's just up to you to study it and understand it. And you shouldn't really need anyone to guide you for some general guidance, technical general guidance, like oh, I cannot start my node. Oh, where do I find information why there is 32 ETH and not 2048? So if you look for a specific bit, if you have some like general issue, feel free to reach out to me. Like that's what I'm hoping to help you with. But but otherwise, like the mentors are there for the more hands-on feedback. Here you can see orientational list of mentors. Most of these people, or all of these people, agreed to dedicate their time to this. But as Josh said, they are busy. You don't want to, just reach out with nothing questions. You want to identify what kind of area you're interested in, and then reach out to relevant people. You can ask us if you want the recommendation for somebody, or if you need to connect somebody on Discord, on Telegram, on email. I'm glad to put you in touch with these guys. So yeah, please reach out to us first. So that's on the mentorship guide. So yeah, again, I just put all of this, studying the resource materials here for the first few weeks. And yeah, that's I believe that's it on the repo. Do you guys have any technical questions about using the repo? Uh, yeah, Discord is the next thing. Should you we should reach out to you by email or Discord. So to reach out to me specifically, not the mentors, I think it's easiest to use Discord at this point because I'm active there. So you have my Discord. If you want my other contacts, you can find me on Telegram. I'm gonna send it here. It's Havel M, and my signal is 42. You can reach out to me if you prefer any other platform. I'm glad to just identify yourself that you're from EPF. So I because outside of Discord I most don't have the context. This is the fastest way to contact me. And yeah, so yeah, feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. And now about the Discord. So the Discord is the Discord that we use is the R&D Discord. It's the Discord server dedicated to the core development. I started by Proto some time ago. Let me maybe show you the thing right here. Yeah, so this this is the Discord channel that we are using. Some people get confused. They use the EPF one, sorry, the EPS one, that's the study group one. So here, this channel in this server is where we have the general communication about the cohort. This is where we will announce all and remind you of every call that we have every week. This is where we will open threads for you to submit updates. Oh, that's one thing that I barely mentioned. But so when you're opening PR for the when you're opening PR for the repo for the dev updates, also submitted here. So we will have weekly threads. You can find them historically here, I guess, from previous cohorts. Yeah, I closed this. Here you see the dev update from previous, so like week 11 of the cohort 4, right? And you see people submitting here their weekly updates. And this is the easiest way for mentors, for example, to come in and see what this week people are working on. So we will create these threads, and we strongly recommend you to post it also there, because mentors are not going to have easy time to go to the repo and check tables whether something is added there. So post your update here with a short description of what you did this week. That's yeah. So the main coordination is this protocol fellowship. This R&D Discord, all of these topics that you see here are actual core devs discussing actual core dev work. So if you are on that level that you want to discuss, if you want to solve some issues and so on, you can go to any of these and find the relevant topic and discuss it there. However, for more educational purposes, if you are just learning, if you are, for example, contributing to the wiki, use the EPS. So this protocol study group server. Let me share an invite here as well. If you are not here, this is the server dedicated to the study group. So this is not coordinating the fellowship. There are a bunch of people discussing the fellowship now. I understand that we will have a dedicated channel to that as well, but it's not the main place. This is for learning. This is for somebody who is interested in wiki contributing or learning about other different parts of wiki. So if you have some content you would like to discuss, if you have some interesting resources, you can share it. You can also share it here. So this is more like learning and discussion with your peers. And the R&D is learning and discussion with the core dev in general, right? And the main channel. So just to give you a better idea of Discord, because it's confusing with two different servers. And again, the only one that you have to use, or that you should use, is the R&D one with our protocol fellowship channel. The EPS is just for learning. That is not necessary or anything. Just to give you an idea. Okay, a few more things because we're running out of time a little, but yeah. Yeah, and so on these weekly calls, we'll have these calls on Monday and Tuesday. We suggest, we don't enforce, but like have your camera on, just sometimes at least to get to know each other, to put a name to the face. We have these breakout rooms where you can meet other people. We definitely don't require this. It's totally up to you. I personally am not a big fan of cameras, but turns out that in previous cohorts we see that I don't have a good bandwidth, that's why I keep it off, by the way. Turns out in previous cohorts, people who know each other, at least from the video, it's a bit more social. We have better community feeling if we at least know each other from the camera, because it's not easy to coordinate each other completely online, completely behind the screen. So that's also why we do the meetings at conferences. But yeah, the camera usage is one of the nice things you can do. So yeah, that's the Discord, that's the learning, that's yeah. Hope you are part of this the mailing list that was shared in the email. We can also you can also find it in the GitHub repo. And yeah, one more important thing before I finish, I want to invite you for the tomorrow's call. I'm going to share details on the call later today. But again, it's first office hours call. So first time you will have this interaction with a mentor, with a core dev kind of person. It's Tim Baker, who is running the ACD. He's actually coordinating the all core devs calls and helping with coordination of the hard forks and the whole core dev development. And that's what he's going to be talking about. He will give you a better idea of how all of these 20 different teams, 12 different client teams are able to coordinate, how they work together, how they ship these hard forks. So tomorrow at this time at the 3 p.m. UTC, you will have a chance to meet Tim Baker in the office hours and then also ask him questions. Okay. And that also leads me to questions now. So, yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for joining the kickoff. I think that's all I had on my heart. That's all we had to share from the coordination perspective, from the to prepare you for the next 5 months of hard work. But now, any questions? Anything that we did not clarify properly? Something that we should elaborate on? Something that you're not sure about? Please feel free to ask us.
And just to add this, during the stand-up meetings, we tend to, prompt you to raise your hand when you are ready to share your update for the week. So we can go ahead and start this protocol here by clicking the raise your hand button if you have a question, and highly encourage you guys to, if you can, come on camera and ask your question, but definitely ask it through your audio, please.
There's one question about the project ideas, and I'm sorry I didn't touch on this. I'm going to touch on this when I was in the repo showing the directory of projects. I kind of skipped it because I was running fast on time, but yeah, I forgot to mention. So yeah, you can find the project ideas in the repository in the projects directory. You can see all the projects proposed by mentors. Now, again, what Josh said, use this as inspiration, use it as a learning resource. You see there like, oh, improve performance of some encoding in some client. Oh, what is this encoding? Oh, what is this client, right? You can dive into it, you can learn, you can find out other applications where you can work with this knowledge. So take it as an inspiration. We don't need everybody working only on these projects because, well, yeah, there is not so many of them. There's like some dozen of them or more. Some teams propose multiple projects. So yeah, you can look into this, and especially if none of these interest you specifically, you can just research your own ideas, completely your own ideas, and I would encourage you to do that, and then collect the feedback. So on the question whether more project ideas are yet to come, so again, this is proposed by the mentors, by the core devs, and that's totally up to them. So we asked them in past month or so to submit these projects. Most of them submitted in past few weeks. Last one was today morning. So there, I believe it was maybe the last one. We cannot tell if somebody wakes up and realizes there is some project they forgot or they would like to add. But you right now work with whatever is there, and please come up with your own ideas, your own projects. And we have some hands up. We have some raised hands. I see Katia is first.
Yeah.
Yeah, all good. Go ahead.
My question is, can I transform my research, for example, while doing some development, or change a little bit my topic or project, because while studying and researching, I can have new ideas or like something.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you so much. Because yeah, we've have this experience a lot. A bunch of people pivoting. Basically, after like a month or even two of working on something, they realize it's kind of dead end, or maybe it's not interesting, or there's not that much work. They decide to work on something else. So totally, yeah. I mean, the first month especially is dedicated to this. You can just try many different ideas. Every week you can try something else if you want, and then see what works the best for you. So the later you change, the worse it is. Like the harder it is to keep up with the pace. So I would recommend really learning well and this dedicated first month on well-defined project. And especially in like the first month or two, it really doesn't matter at all. But you can pivot between ideas. But yeah, then you should settle on something. So there are also people who just manage to finish multiple kind of projects within a cohort, or like have more multiple smaller scope issues that they fix rather than one big thing. That's also possible. Um, so yeah, you have all the freedom in this cohort. You have really freedom to choose your ideas and work on this. Whatever. Yeah. So I guess it's answered like feel free to pivot, just not too late, not like a month before the end or so, because then there is no time to continue working on it. And yeah, that also led me to one thing that I didn't mention before, or maybe wasn't mentioned properly, that you can also work in teams. That's why we encourage people to meet each other, to look at each other's updates and projects and discuss it in Discord and discuss it in other places, because I mean, you can do like it's equal. We don't make any difference. I think it's great to work as an individual. Some projects are great for that, but it's also good to work with other fellows. So to create a group of 2, 3, 4 people to join your forces to work on a single project. That's also very helpful. It's helpful because it's easier to brainstorm, right? You can just bounce ideas of each other instead of always going to a mentor. Like the mentor, as we described it, the mentor relationship is actually this: like you become a colleague of somebody and you work with them. And a very similar benefit is just working with some of these fellows. So you definitely don't have to. It's not much of a difference, but if you want to, you can definitely also join a team. You can create a team and work together on a bigger scope project than you would be managed individually. Yeah, I wanted to also touch on that, and we have some more questions, I think. Yeah, and if you work in a team, you should each of you is working on a different part of it, right? So you just of course submit your own dev updates. You're responsible for your own participation in the fellowship. Yeah, yeah,
Dan,
yeah.
you had
Any
your
more
hand
questions?
up at one point. Did your question get answered or?
All right. Katya, get her answer. My question is regarding the end of the second phase, the part with the project proposal. Is that in regards to the weekly stand up for that week different? I mean, do you have like a formal presentation of the project, or is it going to be just a normal, just a regular?
Yeah,
That
so that's something that we didn't really touch on a whole lot. We touched some on the stand-up meetings, but our office hour meetings will have a number of different formats. Some of them will take the form of an AMA, like it will be this week with Tim Bako, but oftentimes office hours will be dedicated to presentations. So project proposals as well as final project presentations. We are doing 2 events this year, so we're hoping to get a good chunk of the project proposals done in person at in Brussels. But for those of you who are not going to be able to make it to Brussels to ECC, you'll be doing project proposal presentations online during those office hours meetings. So um, it tends to take maybe 3 to 4 weeks of office hours, I guess, depending on how many of you end up at ECC. So yeah, somewhere in the like early to mid July time, you can expect to, if you're not attending ECC, to be giving a project presentation on one of those Tuesday office hour meetings.
Thank you. Yes, thanks.
There is no date specifically for those project proposal meetings. They will be on the office hours, which are 3 p.m. UTC, probably a few weeks of it in July, Abby.
Yeah, we'll specify the deadline more when we approach it, but basically the soft deadline for you can consider it as a soft deadline for submitting a project proposal would be like beginning of July. again, this is like something for us to track your progress, especially people with the stipend who we need to keep an eye on that they, are providing the work. But also, like generally, it's something for you because when you're defining this project, you cannot just be stuck at learning. You need to actually put something on the paper and start executing on it. So that's a moment where we recommend you. Okay, that's like now you have the rest of the time, the 4 3 months to do the actual work. So uh, that's why we limited as this, yeah. And the presentation is again an opportunity to get feedback, to talk about this project with the fellows here, with the mentors. Um, is expected from a successful project proposal. I would say a successful execution of the project proposal. So the you can again please use the previous cohorts for inspiration. There is a bunch of great projects. The template that we provided gives you a good idea of how it should look like. There should be a clear specification. It should be well technically written and comprehensive enough to be understandable by the expert in the area who wants to learn about this, who wants to give you a feedback, who wants to look into your work. It should link all the relevant work. But yeah, again, like we will talk about this more in like 2 3 weeks or so when the deadline starts approaching. Mm, any more hands up? There's a question on the retrospective fundings. I'm not sure what else you want to hear. Josh already touched on that. Uh, Again, it works in a way where we don't want to limit you guys by our judgment because we believe that many people who did not manage to even submit or just we weren't able to judge them correctly are here and we really level the playing field for everyone to come and work on something. um, if you are hoping to again what Josh said, like people doing the core development are mostly experts who are doing it even for less money than people that they would get working elsewhere, and uh, that's what we are hoping to see here as well. Like people who are dedicated, not who are seeking some just the stipend. Especially like if you are going to be sending regular updates, it doesn't really mean that you can get the retrospective funding because if it's just a spam, if it's just half empty and not real work. If you're just learning something, that's great. But unless you create some software, you create some PRs and some really like valuable amount of work, uh, won't be providing these funding. So we are still based on uh, our judgment, based on mentors' feedback. We will decide on some of these fundings in coming months, in like second, third month of the fellowship, not sooner than that. So I would say, I would expect. So yeah, like if you are joining permissionlessly, like unless you are a good engineer and ready to do a lot of work, like don't count on like writing a law and getting paid for it. You need to really provide some output. Um, yeah, let's say project ideas. If the two fellows have a same idea, that can definitely happen. What I can suggest there is like to work together again, form a team. That might be great. To be able to work together on something and figure out how to handle this. However, like you have basically two options: like contribute to the same thing or create different implementations of the same thing. And if it's beneficial to have a separate implementation of a similar project, like you can totally do that. But otherwise, I would just recommend uh, like inflating the scope of a single thing, being able to distribute your work around it.
Awesome. Anybody else have any final questions? We are about 10 minutes past our typical time here. So any last questions from anybody? We're also monitoring the protocol fellowship channel most of the time. So if you have other further questions, feel free to ask them there. And if that is no more questions, if you are going to, the question from Sid here, project proposals at ECC is only for people with a stipend or also permissionless people. If you are going to be at ECC and you have been participating permissionlessly and submitting development updates and have a project proposal, we'd love to invite you to come join us for EPF Day. However, it will be too early to have judged any sort of contributions for retroactive funding. So, you would be responsible for your ticket and all of that sort of stuff. The question from MD, we don't have a rubric for what it's like to go from permissionless to non-permissionless. It's sort of different for everybody, and it just really depends. There's no